Hello friends and welcome to Pavan Puri's Pitstop and to another exciting video on badminton, and today we are going to talk about the top 7 best badminton rackets from the Yonex Voltric series. So whenever we talk about the Yonex Voltric series rackets, the first few things that come to our mind is power, agility, quick and responsive in the air, domination in the game. And there are a few more reasons why these rackets are very popular in the Southeast Asian market, and one of them is that most of these rackets, or I would say almost all the Voltric series rackets, are either made in Taiwan or they're made in Japan. So before we start the video, let me tell you that the ranking is strictly based on the popularity. So these numbers keep on fluctuating, and there is a possibility that the rackets lower the order can be found on the top of the order the coming month. So without wasting time, let us get on to the racket number 7, that is the Yonex Voltric 2DG Slim, which is made in Taiwan, and it starts from 3,400 rupees onwards in the open market and online. So talking about the specifications of the racket, it is a 3U G4 racket at 88 grams. It has a highly flexible shaft. It can take up to 35 lbs of string tension and is a head heavy racket. So because it has 35 lbs, you can use almost any string, may it be a performance string as 66 or an all-round string as 65 titanium. And because of the slimmer shaft, you get a better swing and more power into your shots to kill the opponent's defense. Now, because of the slim shaft, there is a misconception that the racket is not as durable, and that is why it is quite an underestimated racket. But as it is made of super high elastic carbon graphite, so the company has made it sure that the durability stays intact. So moving on to the racket number 6, and this is the Yonex Voltric 200 THL, one of my favorites. The Yonex Voltric 200 Taufik Hidayat Limited. This is made in China and starts from 2,300 rupees in the open market and online. So if we talk about the specifications of the racket, it is a 4U G4 racket at 83 grams, and it is a head heavy racket, and the shaft is a medium flex shaft, and it can take up to 24 lbs of string tension. However, on a few occasions I have seen players have taken the string tension to 25-26 lbs, and the racket has still been able to survive for more than a year. Well, the company says that the racket is an advanced level racket, but I feel it is an intermediate to advanced level racket. But at the price point, the performance of the racket is exceptional, and I would say it is better than some of its costlier rivals or category rackets. And definitely the heavy head the racket has, it puts in an extra punch into your shots and smashes, and especially your drives. So moving on to the next racket, racket number 5 is the Yonex Voltric 0.5 DG Slim. Yes, this is the next level of the Yonex Voltric 0.5 DG, which was a little stiffer than the slimmer version, and this is made in Taiwan and starts from 2,800 rupees onwards in the open market and online. So if we talk about the specifications of the racket is a 3U G4 racket at 88 grams, and it is a head heavy racket. It can take 35 lbs of string tension, which means almost all kinds of strings, may it be the BG80 or the 65, any sort of string can be put onto this racket on the tension of your choice. And if we talk about the shaft, it is a slimmer shaft as compared to the earlier 0.5 DG. Because the earlier 0.5 DG had an extra stiff shaft, and there were complaints that people had shoulder pains or tennis elbow pains. So now it is a positive upgrade, and definitely slimming the shaft has induced some power into the smashes, because you get more swing, lesser air resistance, so you get more power into your smashes. And the new nanometric carbon graphite technology that has been induced into this racket makes it sure that the durability is not compromised, and you can blow your punches into the opponent's defense. So moving on to racket number 4, and this is one of my favorites. It is the Yonex Voltric 0.1 DG. And there is one thing which I found about this racket was that this is made in Taiwan as well as Japan. So some of the rackets were found that were made in Japan, and some were made in Taiwan. And if we talk about the price point, the racket starts from 2,500 rupees onwards in the open market and online. So talking about the specifications of the racket, it is a 4U G4 racket, and it is a perfect balance of power, control and handling. And it has been an underrated racket if we compare it with the rest of the Voltric series like 0.5, 0.7, 1, 2, 5 or 7 DG. But the racket is a slow riser, and if we talk about the head balance, it is a head heavy racket and can take up to 35 lbs of string tension, which means almost all sorts of strings can be used. But if you use the performance strings which have high repulsion like the 66, 80, 99, then you are going to enjoy it to the full. So talking in detail about the specifications of this racket, they're very much similar to the Astrox 39, but the significant differences that I could analyze was the shaft of the racket is more flexible, and it can take up to string tensions of 35 lbs. But the one thing that I liked about this racket was that when you hit those third line clears or smashes or shots, they seem to be effortless. The racket seems to just glide into those shots. So moving on to racket number 3 is the Yonex Voltric 0.7 DG. This is made in Taiwan and starts from 3,000 rupees onwards in the open market and online. And this is an absolute favorite of mine. And if we talk about the specifications, the racket is a 3U G4 racket at 88 grams with a head heavy and a medium flexible shaft, and can take up to 35 lbs of string tension, which means it can take any string. And if you put on those performance strings, then the 88 grams weight of the racket is just going to blow those smashes into the opponent's defense, and that steep angle that you get in this racket is just amazing. And as the racket is made of super high elastic carbon graphite, so the racket's durability is better. And on the other hand, we know that it has a regular shaft, so the durability is definitely a step ahead of the other Voltric series rackets. So moving on to racket number 2, and this is the Yonex Voltric Lin Dan 9, which is made in Japan and starts from 3,800 rupees onwards in the open market and online. So if we talk about the specifications of the racket, it is a 4U G4 racket at 83 grams. And if we talk about the head, it is a head heavy racket, and its length is 675 millimeters plus minus 2 millimeters. And if we talk about the shaft, it has a stiff shaft for those accurate and crystal clear smashes. Talking about the durability of the racket, it is made of heavy MS graphite, that is the head and the shaft both are made of the same material. But the highest string tension that the racket can take is 24 lbs. However, this is one of those rackets where I have experienced that people have taken the string tension up to 26 lbs, and the durability and the life of the racket have still been intact. And just a passing information that the maximum number of rackets that have been associated between Yonex and Lin Dan, they come from this very series, that is the Yonex Voltric series. And before we move on to the racket number 1, let me tell you that as always, I'll share the discounted links in the description section below, which you can follow to purchase your favorite racket and also use it for other sports apparels. So moving on to racket number 1, and here we have 2 rackets on this position, and the first one which is the number 1 is the Yonex Voltric 7 DG, which is made in Taiwan and starts from 4,000 rupees onwards in the open market and online. And if we talk about the finishing of the racket and the make of the racket, it is spot on, and the performance of the racket is also spot on. And talking about the specifications, it is a 3U G4 racket at 88 grams. This racket has a stiff shaft for those accurate and remarkably crystal clear smashes that you can deliver onto your opponent. And the string tension, the maximum string tension the racket can take is 35 lbs, which allows you to try as many number of strings, maybe the 65 or the 80, 66 or the 99. And if you have those high repulsion strings, that will be just amazing on this racket. and the reinforced structured frame that this racket has just makes it show that the durability is not at all compromised, and I would say it is an inch above than the rest of the Voltric rackets. So now moving on to the second number one racket, and this is the Yonex Voltric 8E Tune, which is made in Taiwan and starts from 4,100 rupees onwards in the open market and online. Well, this is one of those rackets, or indeed I should say this is the racket which probably introduced the concept of inducing sleeves over the head around the frame, which could be adjustable and where you can shift the balance and the weight of the head according to your game. So if we talk about the specifications of this racket, it is a 4U G4 racket, and it has a head heavy balance, and the shaft is a mid flex stiff shaft, which is probably just the right balance, flex and stiff both in the shaft, and the maximum string tension that the racket can take is 26 lbs. Well, this racket has been in the market for quite a while, and it was one of the favorite rackets for many top players of their times. Well, if we talk about the strings, then probably any string can be put onto this racket, but make sure that you select the right balance of the string and the sleeve around the frame for the best game. Well, this was my ranking on the Yonex Voltric series rackets, and if you have any of your experiences or any of your inputs, do mention that in the comment section below. And until then, stay safe, stay healthy, watch healthy videos, stay away from corona, and have a good day.